What is going on, fam? We are live. Welcome. Get everyone in here. Come on in. Let's talk. We have something to talk about today. So let's talk about current 49ers. Let's talk about top five. And we're going to debate it. We'll go through my list, and we'll talk about your guys' lists. And then we'll talk about all the in-betweens. But I'm excited to get into this. And because we got the comments popping today over this debate. So I'm excited to pick up this conversation, and we'll see where it goes. And I'm already seeing a detail says number one Kittle. Got a lot of number one Kittles. Got a lot of number one Freds. Got a couple Nick Bosa's in there. From more of the fan lists, we got we had Trent Williams in there, was well represented as well. So I think, with everything going on based on that list, I think the top four, right? Like if we look at the top four, Kittle, Trent, we got blanking on the names already. Geez. Bosa and Fred, those four. I think that's unanimous. I think we can all agree on that, regardless of how you have them stacked, regardless of how you have them ranked. I think we can all agree those four guys belong in the top five, top four, however you rank it. But let's go through now my rankings, and you all can yell at me as much as you want. Go for it. Tell me I'm wrong and don't know what I'm talking about. I'm here for it. I accept it. Please send it my way. So starting off at number one, the number one 49er on the current roster. Honestly, for me, I don't want to say it was easy, but it's Trent Williams. Like, it's just Trent Williams in this day and age where offensive linemen aren't built and propped up to be like Trent Williams. Like, I guarantee you Trent Williams could have played D-line and played millions of dollars playing on the D-line. He chose to play offensive line. The skill set fit him perfectly. And with Trent Williams, man, they're right now currently in the NFL. You look across the league, you looked at Bakhtiari, you looked at some of the other guys that are playing at a high level. I mean, you look at what Trent Williams did last year in 2020 on a new team after being traded from the Washington football team, after having a tumor removed from his head, a life-threatening situation, was out of football for a year, came back and is the hands down. Yes, I'm biased towards offensive linemen, but this is still a fact. Hands down, and the best offensive lineman, best left tackle in the league. And when you're talking best left tackle, we're talking best offensive lineman across the board. And of course, I'm gonna sway towards my offensive lineman 100%. But when you look at this guy's career, he's an 8-time Pro Bowler. He's made the Pro Bowl every single year that he has played football. He only allowed 4 sacks last year. He had the highest PFF grade out of any offensive lineman in regards to run blocking. He was the highest graded left tackle out of any tackle in the league. And then, of course, you have to look at the positional value. I'm factoring in positional value into this, at least into this selection. With Trent Williams, the rareness that he is a rare breed. They call him the silverback, and rightfully so. He's just different. And so for me, again, being the offensive lineman stan that I am, again, quantifying his importance to this team, quantifying his importance to the league in general. Everyone recognizes how good Trent Williams is. So for me, I slot Trent Williams right there, number one, Let's go. And that's really what I believe. He's 32 years old and still, he got paid as the highest left tackle in the NFL for a reason. But you look at the production, you look at what he does on the field, in between the white lines, everything he's capable of doing. He can do things that most people that play that position can't do. People can't move like that when you're 6'5", 320 pounds, and you move it's unbelievable. Even he had a tackle last year. He had a tackle after an interception last year, and you're just like, holy crap. He tracked down a DB and destroyed him. So with Trent Williams, when I was ecstatic the day that the 49ers traded for him, I said, I was doing a live, and I said right then and there, and I love Joe Staley. You guys know I love Joe Staley, and I think he's a Hall of Fame left tackle, and he's one of the best to ever play. When we got Trent Williams, I was like, I think we just upgraded at tackle, and I don't even know how that's possible. But somehow Kyle Shanahan found a way to do it. Gets Trent Williams for literally a bag of chips and returns to form, comes into this offense and becomes the best left tackle in the NFL. And I think that left tackle position holds such strong equity that you could essentially say, if you're the best left tackle, you're arguably the best offensive lineman in the NFL, because, again, playing left tackle is different. Being on an island with these Khalil Macks, all these edge rushers, the Bosas, all these guys that exist in the NFL, to be on an island and go one-on-one with these dudes and win and dominate and do those kinds of things, legendary, difficult. So, and you guys are saying, I'm hearing that from Brandon that Trent Williams ran 19 miles an hour in training camp. I believe it. The fastest time in the NFL, I think, was 23-1 by Raheem Mostert. So, hey, he's chasing down Raheem, or trying to keep up. But essentially, that's how I see it stacked. With Trent Williams, and we'll talk about number 2, because I think is absolutely worthy of a conversation of, maybe Fred Warner is the number 1. Maybe Kittle's number 1. But I slot Kittle at number 2. And we'll talk about why. Because one of the things, too, with Kittle, we understand how dominant he is. Kittle is one of the most dominant blockers in the NFL, period. You don't have to pigeonhole him into being a tight end. He is one of the most dominant blockers in the NFL, and has been the second he touched down and was drafted in the 5th round. 5th round out of Iowa. George Kittle in Iowa had less than 800 receiving yards over the span of 4 years. Barely played up until his senior year. And even then, he was used primarily as a blocking tight end. But then you see him come to the league. You see his maturation. You see how Kyle Shanahan was able to develop the skill set, the traits. Because when you look at Kittle, he has all the traits. But he has the mentality of an offensive lineman that is in a tight end's body. And kudos to Kittle. Kudos to Kittle for working hard, transforming his body. Because honestly, you look at Kittle, especially when he was drafted and coming up, he kind of looked a little string beanie, a little bit. And again, you have to give all the credit in the world to him to be able to put in the work to mature to this level. But when you look at Kittle and what he's been able to do 4 years in the league, he's put up over 3,500 receiving yards. He has 14 touchdowns. And, that's only with playing half the year last year. He only played 8 games in 2020. Of course, he's dealing with the injury and all that good stuff. But I feel really confident putting Kittle at 2 behind Trent. And again, you could make the argument either way. But I think with the, with Kittle, he's got to rely on some other people. He's got to rely on the quarterback to get him the football in the right spots. He's got to be able to do that. Where his job is, and you can make the argument against, making Kittle number one. He's got to block and he's got to catch, right? He's got to do both. So you could make the argument, Trent doesn't got to catch. He just got to block the best athletes in the world. That's it. But so does Kittle. Kittle does the same thing. Kittle's elite as a blocker as well. But again, Kittle has grown and been able to show what he's able to do as a receiver in the pass game. The yak ability, we call him the Yak King for a reason. We called him Yak King from day one because that's all the dude would do. He would get the ball and create plays, force yardage, and churn it out and just chug out yards. It didn't matter. He just churned them out. So with Kittle, the production there is there. The accolades are there. He got his first team All-Pro selection in 2019 and rightfully deserved. Interesting. Trent Williams has never been selected to an All-Pro team. Wild. But with Kittle, he has been able to take this tight end position and do so much for it. Again, he's got tight end U coming up. They're about to, dive deeper with former tight ends and being able to evolve that way. We're not grading personality. If personality was a part of this, if we had to grade personality, Kittle might be number one. Like if we had to take in the whole range of outcomes and situations, and we're taking in Kittle's personality, all right, Kittle might be one. But just based on looking at the players, what they do and what they do well based on the other people in the NFL, I just feel comfortable stacking it that way. There's going to be a lot of people in the NFL who are going to try and make the argument that Travis Kelce is better than Kittle. I don't think that's the case because, again, Kittle offers so much in the blocking game that I just don't think Travis even comes close to. And then you look at the situation. Travis has Patrick Mahomes, who can get him the ball anywhere in any situation. And Kittle is really out there clawing and fighting for every opportunity. So with Kittle, it's the combination of run blocking. And again, he puts up the production in the pass game. But for Kittle, his ability in the run game sets him apart from any other tight end in the NFL. And it's the reason why I feel comfortable putting a tight end number 2 on my list. So number 1's Trent. Unless Kittle himself gets on here and makes an argument why I should put him above Trent, I don't think I'm going to switch off that. I feel pretty confident with that stack. So then going into number 3. Number 3, I think based on this situation, Fred Warner right now is a no-brainer. This is another guy on this roster that you could make the argument that he is the best player on this team. You can make the argument that Fred Warner is the best player on this team. You absolutely can. I will feel confident in saying that Fred Warner is the best linebacker in the NFL, best off-ball linebacker in the NFL, best middle linebacker in the NFL. It doesn't matter. He's just the best. He's just the best at everything. When it comes to coverage, there's no better coverage middle linebacker, whatever you want to call him. There's no one better than Fred Warner. There is no one better. And then when you look at everything he does when it comes to filling gaps in the run game, plugging up the middle, we're talking about the middle, and being that thumper that middle linebackers are known for being, he's got it. He has that ability. He has the ability to read offensive line and D-line play like he's a running back. It's really fun to watch. And then that translates into his ability to go sideline to sideline, which I don't think anyone else in the NFL can do either. Maybe a Darius Leonard, maybe a White out of Tampa when it comes to sideline speed. But it's the combination of everything. It's the coverage ability. It's the ability to read and react, because when Fred keys on something, he's already keyed on it pre-snap. So pre-snap, as the smarts go, he already has an idea where the ball's going. So he's already making his technique kind of flow towards that situation, which in a lot of times puts him in a great position to make the play, because when he decides to go, he has the ability to go to 0 to 100 right away. So with Fred Warner, I mean, he's the prototype, in my opinion. When you're building, like if you were playing Madden or back in the old days of playing NCAA, and you used to create a player in high school, and then you'd work them through that high school circuit and then get recruited, and then you could switch your player from NCAA to Madden. If you're making a middle linebacker, you made Fred Warner. You made that type of guy. Fred Warner is the prototype. He is only going to continue to ascend in this league, in my opinion. He's about to get paid. And again, I've only been talking about traits up until this point. I don't even think I've mentioned one stat or anything that he's been able to provide. But, he put up 70 tackles last year. He had a sack, forced fumble. I know he had a sack or a interception. Interception. So he puts up numbers constantly. He doesn't miss plays. He doesn't miss snaps. So with Fred Warner, he doesn't have a ton of accolades. He got his first Pro Bowl nod last year. He got first team All-Pro last year. He got Player of the Week once last year and once in 2019. It's the first time we saw him on the NFL Top 100. So Fred Warner is an ascending asset. He's still going up. He's only 24 years old. So with Fred Warner being a third-round pick out of BYU, and we're looking at his career 3 years in. 3 years in. And we're like, he could be the best player on the team. That's pretty special. That's really special to say. So can you make the argument he's number one? Can you make the argument he's number two? Absolutely. But right now, based on the timing of where we are today, heading into this season, I like him at number 3. I really do. I think perfect spot for Fred, because he can still ascend just like his career. He's still going to go up. So with Fred Warner, I'm okay. I'm okay being here, because it maybe next year we check back next year. We do this. We do a comparison next year. Maybe he's number 1. Maybe he has such an insane year and balls out so tough and becomes a literal household name in every NFL, any home that consumes the NFL. Then, yeah, there's a good chance Warner's going to be number 1 eventually. But for right now, we got him at 3. So again, to recap the list up until this point, we've got Trent Williams, number 1. Like I said, the man himself, Kittle, would have to convince me otherwise, because I got some bias into it. The O-line, like, I got so much respect for the O-line that I don't want to call it biased. I just want to feel like I give them the appropriate credit that they deserve, if that's a way we want to look at it. Going number 2, you got Kittle. He's basically an offensive lineman. That's why I love him so much. That's why he was a draft crush for me out of Iowa. I mean, tell me. You look at his stats in college, who would crush on Kittle? Who would crush on that guy? Number 46 out of Iowa. Barely put up any production in college. Who would? Someone who appreciates blocking. Me. You go look at the tape. Kittle is a disaster in the run game. He will destroy you every play in, play out. He has a mentality of an offensive lineman. So easy to gravitate towards him, and amazing to watch his career blossom to this point. So you could, again, make the argument. I got him 2. Number 3, Fred Warner. Could be one day. Could be one next year. Could be one next year. Oh, but Richie Rich, perfect timing. Richie Rich says Bosa is number 1, Kittle number 2, Trent number 3, Warner 4. Okay. Perfect segue into my number 4th player on this team in 2021, Nick Bosa. And it's hard to believe he's 4 with pretty much missing all of 2020. As we know, he went down in the New York Jets game, and we didn't get to see him, and that was his 2nd year in the NFL. But he had such an impactful rookie year, such an impact as a rookie, a bigger impact than I have seen in quite some time. I mean, you can look across the board and you can pull similarities for sure. But when we look at the 49ers, you kind of think Alden a little bit. You get a little bit of those Alden vibes, because remember Alden Smith, when he came in, man, he was a situational pass rusher. He played on 3rd downs, basically, primarily only. Paris Harrelson played before him on base downs. And Alden turned into a phenomenon. He had 14 and a half sacks as a rookie. All right. Well, keep in mind, Nick Bosa felt like he played every single snap in 2019, right? As a rookie at 21 years old, I believe. And he had 10 sacks. So 4.5 shy of Alden Smith, who actually set the record, I believe, for rookie sacks in a season. Oh, excuse me, I misspoke. Bosa had 9 sacks. 9 sacks. But still, the impact was far greater than just being a situational pass rusher. We felt his presence on base down after base down after base down in the run game everywhere. Bosa was everywhere in 2019, again, as a 21-year-old rookie. And what he was able to do that rookie year transcends into him not playing in 2020. That's how good he was as a rookie, is that he didn't play in 2020, and he's still the number 4th ranked player on my list. And with Nick Bosa, I don't need to get long-winded on Nick, but of course I will, because that's what we're here for. With Nick Bosa, man, technician, absolute technician. His hands, when it comes to just being technically savvy and understanding offensive line play, understanding what offensive linemen are trying to do to you, and him knowing how to set up and counter that, he's masterclass. He is masterclass at the game within the game. That's one of the things that makes him so good, is he is absolutely next level when it comes to his pass rushing ability, his pass rushing setup, the moves, everything he puts into it. Just the technique that he has mastered this early in his career. And again, you would expect someone who had an NFL player as a dad. His brother clearly was making waves in the NFL long before Nick showed up. So he has guys that he can lean on to show him the way. And Bosa, you can tell he's built for this. He's built for this. So the fact that he's number 4 after not playing really at all in 2020, I think speaks a lot to his potential. Because if we're talking about him at number 4 on a loaded rosters with a lot of good players, and we're talking about him at number 4 and feeling really comfortable and feeling like, yeah, that's a shoo-in. He's number 4. Like, that's good news for us. That's great news for us. Because, again, with Nick Bosa as well, it's hard to believe, but he is an ascending asset. He is an asset that should and will get better as he matures with time and all that good stuff. So Nick Bosa, man, number 4, it's a rookie of the year right there. That's a 2019 rookie of the year. Defensive rookie of the year. 2019 defensive rookie of the year. So with that being said, I feel really confident with this list so far. I do. Top 4 for me, personally, based on how I view football through my lens, I'm pretty confident in it. Top 4, I like it. Now, top 5, number 5 overall. I would be lying to you if I said this wasn't extremely difficult to pick. I would be lying. Number 5 was really hard. Pickle juice is back. Number 5 was really hard. I don't want to talk too much about all the different candidates that I was going through because there's multiple. It wasn't like I'm not going to pretend like I got to Raheem and was like slam dunk. This is Raheem, because there's so many good players on this roster. There's so many good players. Like, you guys are starting to go through the list. Good breakout, Brandon. So Brandon says potential top 5 options: Greenlaw, Ward, Williams, Verrett, Ford, Armstead, Debo, Ayuk, Mack, McGlinchey, Juice, Lake, and Mostert. We have a lot of good players on this squad that are well worthy of that number 5. But I'll tell you right now why I landed with Mostert at number 5. And I know the perception out there to begin with. I know the perception is that Kyle Shanahan makes running backs. Kyle Shanahan can find anyone out of any trash pile and turn them into a diamond. That's what Kyle Shanahan does. So somehow people take away from what Mostert has been able to accomplish up until this point. But I see it a different way. I see it when I watch 2020 games back, and I watch and I look and I use my eyeballs to watch the game. When Raheem Mostert was healthy, that offense just moved differently. The offense flowed differently. And with Mostert available and capable in that role, he was on pace for over 1,200 yards rushing. He was on pace to have a monster year. But, of course, injury set in, and we didn't get to see the whole situation play out. But in my opinion, and I understand all the different thought processes because, Mostert's rise is obscure, going as 6 NFL teams, 7 NFL teams, special teams, become starting running back, NFC Championship God, and then got hurt last year in 2020. But this is why I put him in there, is because when I go back and I watch the games, when Raheem is in the game, that offense just moves differently. There's a different juice, there's a different energy, there's a different vibe. And to me, that means a lot when I'm evaluating. And although you saw games with Jeff Wilson, where Jeff Wilson comes in against the Patriots, and, he puts up great production. And that's what you're going to get in a Kyle Shanahan offense. Running backs are going to get production in that scheme regardless. But Mostert in that role just is different. And I think that a full 16-game season with Raheem Mostert starting every game, getting 15 to 20 touches a week would light up the NFL. Would light up. I'm trying to buy the dip in his ADP. I'm trying to buy Mostert stock in all my dynasty leagues because I really think that if he can stay healthy, of course, that's with anyone on this team, that if we can stay healthy, right, precursor. But if he can stay healthy, man, behind this offensive line and his skill set, the speed, the vision, the cutting, the power, people just don't have enough experience with Mostert yet to be able to quantify what he really is. And in my opinion, when I look at his traits, again, all of it, I look at a guy who has fresh legs. That's how I look at it. People look at him, oh, he's 29. He's getting older. He's getting long in the tooth, what have you. I'm like, this dude's got fresh legs, man. He's got fresh legs. Yeah, he got hurt, but that happens. Look at the entire roster. So with Mostert, I'm just excited too. And the second thing I'm excited about is the hunger he has. I know he's hungry, man. I know he is chomping at the bit to get out here. I know 2020 didn't go how he wanted it to go. I know that based on how the situation of the roster construction is going, he's got something to prove this year. So that's why I put him number 5. It could have been a lot of other guys. It really could have. I wrangled with Jason Verrett. I wrangled with Juszczyk. I played with the idea of Kinlaw. Jimmy Ward, absolutely worthy of sliding in and taking over that number 5 spot. Brandon Ayuk, again, ascending asset. Don't know if I'm ready to put him at top 5 yet, but he is an ascending asset. Like, I will not be shocked if we run this list again next year, which is what we're going to do, and we'll compare. But he's going to be top 5 next year. Brandon, I believe that. I believe next year when we look at the season, I think Brandon Ayuk will be top 5 on this team. No, I don't think it'll be much of a debate. But as we stand right now, he still has some growth that he needs to do in his game. We saw the ascension last year for Ayuk. And then you start thinking about all the guys who got missed, right? Debo. Should we talk about Debo real quick? Obviously, we're kind of deviating from the list a bit, but maybe I'll put a bow on the list. So before we start doing that. So, but in regards to Mostert, again, it's the combination of what he is. It's his package. It's the whole thing. And again, if he can stay healthy, I really think that he can be a massive piece to this puzzle. Now, are we going to continue to rotate backs in? Always. It's Kyle Shanahan. I don't think I can envision a Kyle Shanahan offense that requires a running back to get more than 30 touches a game. I don't envision that. But I do envision our starting running back getting 15 to 20. And at 15 to 20, at 5 yards a clip, so Raheem Mostert's yards per rush average, or yards, destroying the abbreviation. It's yards per rush, right? He's currently running at a clip of 5 yards. 2020, he ran at a clip 5 yards per carry. 20 for his career, he's running at 5.6. That is insane. Like that yards per attempt is insane. And so what I want to see is that extrapolated into a larger sample size. So if you're running 5.6 a clip, let's call it what, times 15 carries? Is that 84 yards times 17? So if Raheem Mostert, this is how we quantify it. This is what Raheem Mostert is capable of. And this is why, in my opinion, in this scheme, with his skill set, he's got to be number 5. Because Raheem Mostert running at 5.6 a clip over his career, if you extrapolate that to 15 carries a game, that's it. Just 15 carries for 17 games. That is over 1,400 yards rushing. If Raheem Mostert is rushing for over 1,400 yards, I think you all would agree, yeah, he's probably going to fit number 5 on this list. So that's what I see when I look at Mostert. It's a lot of different things. I'm looking at what he's done in the past. I'm looking at what I think he is right now. And I'm looking at what I think he could be in the future. So when I look at Mostert, I look at his yards per clip at 5.6 over his career. That is a really, really good clip. And the fact that if he can come back in 2021 motivated, 2 healthy, and 3 ready to rock, woo! Mosterati's coming, boys and girls. But again, he's got to stay healthy. He's got to stay healthy, man. So, but that's why I put him at 5, because that's what I'm saying. If he's capable of rushing for 1,400 yards, right now, he's one of the best backs in the NFL from a production standpoint. So why wouldn't that be good enough to make him one of the best players on the team? So that's the way I look at it. So to recap, I'll put a bow on the list, and then I'll start looking at questions, comments, things like that. So I haven't really been looking, but I will. So again, to recap, number 1, Trent Williams, the silverback, king of the jungle, just Trent Williams. Trent Williams, number 1. Number 1. I'm sorry. I love you, Kittle. I love you, Fred. I love you, Bosa. I love everyone on this roster. But Trent Williams, number 1. Number 2, Kittle. Has to be Kittle. With what Kittle has done up until his career, with who Kittle is right now, has to be Kittle. In my opinion, has to be Kittle. Number 3, Fred. Has to be Fred. Has to be Fred. Right now. Honestly, you could make the argument either way of stacking, but your top 3 has to have Trent Williams, George Kittle, and Fred Warner. It has to. It has to. It has to. And so you can rearrange that, like I said, based on your preference. But that's how I stack it based on my preference. And then number 4, you got Bosa. Again, he's still riding high off that rookie year, winning defensive rookie of the year, but he's got some things to do. He's got some things he needs to work on, which is literally not really in his control. Just got to stay healthy. That's it. I feel like what we say with literally every single player that we talk about. If they can stay healthy, someone's going to have to trademark if they can stay healthy. That way they can make a grip off 49er fans every time we talk. Because every time we communicate, we probably say, if we can stay healthy, multiple times a conversation. And so, but it is what it is. If we can stay healthy, and I think, of course, Bosa should stay healthy. Bosa feels great for me at number 4. Now, again, number 5, in my opinion, debatable. Definitely debatable. But based on everything that I talked about, based on how I perceive Mostert now, the way I perceive Mostert to attack this offseason and attack this year, I like it. I like it at 5. So that's my list. Trent, Kittle, Fred, Nick, Bosa, and Raheem Mostert. Those are the 5. That's why. And now we can debate and really talk. And I want to see your list. Let me see your list. Let me see some guys that maybe we're sleeping on. Maybe I'm sleeping on. Maybe I should wake up a little bit. Let me know. Who's it going to be? So on Instagram, they're kind of having it looks like a little quarterback debate. I think it's fascinating. that the 49ers are going into this year and their quarterback isn't on the top 5. I think that's fascinating because to me, that tells me more about the team. That tells me more about the depth of this team. It tells me about what they have going for them in regards to roster construction across the board. Now, with Jimmy Garoppolo, 2019, Jimmy Garoppolo, Jimmy would have made this list. 2019, if I made a list in 2019 or after 2019, Jimmy probably makes this list. He probably comes in around 3, 4, 5 in 2019. Right now, I don't know if Jimmy scratches the top 10. If I had to extrapolate this list out past top 10, I don't know. I don't know if he makes it. I don't know if Trey Lance makes it. I know for a fact Trey Lance doesn't make it because Trey Lance hasn't taken a snap in the NFL yet, and I'm not ready to crown rookies like that yet. So that's that. Oh, Mondo, don't listen to Bryson. That's the wrong one. That's wrong. Don't listen to it. That's not. Yeah. I think we're in for a treat in 2021 if we can stay healthy. Right? If the 49ers can stay healthy, what's there to lose? So it's kind of my perception of it. It's my list. Do we like the lists? Do we like the list breakdowns? Is this something that we should do more often? Is this like a yes? Good call, Philly Lags. Agreed. We need to give more recognition to Jason Verrett. And if I see you. I see you, Bryson. Yeah, absolutely. Jason Verrett was absolutely considered number 5. Absolutely, he was in consideration. It was honestly, full disclosure, number 5 was between Jason Verrett and Raheem Mostert. That's who it was. And based on now, Jason Verrett had an amazing year last year. Great year. The coverage that he put out, insane. Let me see if I can even pull up his coverage grade real quick. But Jason Verrett, his rise from, of course, being out a couple years to then making the comeback that he did and the resiliency that he had to come back, it does not go unnoticed. Does not go unnoticed. He had a coverage grade of 76.1. According to PFF, Jason Verrett had 55 tackles, 2 interceptions, a couple pass breakups, all that good stuff. All that good stuff. Ooh, good question. Good question. Post game HQ. Hey, guys on Instagram, do me a favor. Follow my guy, Post Game HQ. I think they're coming up. They got some nice content coming your way. But it's a good question. How do I think Raheem is going to deal with Sermon and Goldman behind him? I don't think Raheem Mostert has liked an Instagram post since the 49ers drafted Trey Sermon. So to extrapolate on that, I think Raheem Mostert, how is he going to deal with it? He's going to attack these dudes. Because, again, I put out a post about Raheem not too long ago. I said, don't ever underestimate someone who has fought for literally everything they have. Raheem Mostert has fought for everything. Everything. Everything he has clawed inch and nail, tooth, whatever expression you want to use. Raheem Mostert only knows how to fight for his life. And so when that is what you're up against, and that, again, I guarantee you, that's the mentality he's taking. He's like, oh, I got to compete again. Like, this isn't his job. It's not like 2019 going into 2020 where he's the starter. Like, and it's just like, no, Jeff Wilson's not doing nothing. Like, tired legs, might not get that much run. Who knows? So it was really like Mostert's role. Now, okay, 49ers trade up into the third round. They draft Trey Sermon. Wayne Gallman comes in, who is a very capable back. I need to keep reminding people of that. And they also draft Elijah Mitchell, who's one of my favorite prospects from the Senior Bowl. So, and then you still, at the time, had Wilson. So, if I'm Mostert and, going through the contract situation that he went through last year, and kind of some of the noise that came from that, and obviously, again, you put on your roster construction hat, you put on your GM cap on, and you see how these guys are building the roster. Certain moves tell you and indicate to you about the future. Well, I think Raheem Mostert took notice, saw it. I think I don't know. And I'm not speaking from a place like I know, because I don't. I'm just observant. And since that moment, I've noticed a switch in Raheem just on social media ever since that moment. So I think Raheem is hungry. And I think he feels like he's backed into a corner. And I like that. I know Raheem personally, if I had to put myself in his shoes, I would not like that. I would not like that. It would make me feel uncomfortable. It would make me feel unstable. Is my job safe? What's my job security look like? But at the same time, just like Jeff Garcia said, when I had him on and I asked him, how should Jimmy handle this? You got the rookie quarterback coming in. You know what Jeff Garcia said? He said, you got to take the mentality that they don't like you. And when he's saying they, he's talking about the 49ers. And he's saying you have to take the mentality that they don't like you, that they don't have you in your future plans, and you got to fight. And you got to prove to them that you belong. And you got to prove to them that you deserve this job. I think, again, based on Raheem Mostert's career trajectory to this point, how he got here, again, 6-7 teams cut him, fighting his way through special teams to then getting the spot. I think, to the original question post-game had, how do I think Raheem is handling this? I think he is more motivated on 5 million different levels than a lot of people give him credit for. And he's being quiet. He's being silent. I know what approach he's taking. And that, to me, is part of the reason why I'm like, oh, my goodness. Like, if he can stay healthy behind this offensive line with Kyle Shanahan dialing up plays, he doesn't have to do it all himself. He doesn't have to have 25 carries a game. He doesn't. And that's a benefit to him. It's a benefit to this team. And if he's getting 15, 20 touches, 15 carries, 2 to 3 catches out of the backfield a game, Mostert is putting up over 1,500 all-purpose yards. If that's the case, then that doesn't sound too crazy, does it? Like 15 carries, that seems really manageable, especially giving maybe 8 to 10 between, all the other running backs behind him. And again, at 5.6 yards a carry, that's literally his career trajectory would be over if he had 15 carries for 17 games and ran at 5.6 a clip, like his career average is. That's over 1,400 yards. That's what Mostert is capable of. So I expect him to be in a heated battle. When I asked Mike about the competition in the running back room, McGlinchey, he answered it like a pro, absolute pro. He said, "Oh, that's I don't view that as competition. I view that as look at the injuries that have stacked up against us the last couple of years. Look at how much we run the football. Look at this, look at that. And I was like, yeah, that's a really good way to look at it. But I think Raheem's ready to frickin' rock and roll, dude. That's what I think. So that plays a big part of this. I think it's a contract year. It's a contract year. He's headed for the dreaded 30-year-old, running back tag. Like, this is a big year. This is a big year for Raheem Mostert. And what I know from observing him and watching him from afar and the little interactions that I've had with him and his family, that dude's ready to murder someone. Like, in a good sense. In a good sense. He's ready to come out and play football. So I'm excited for it. I really want to see it on multiple levels. Like I said, fantasy perspective. I'm buying all the Mostert Sermon stock I can buy because, like I said, I think the combination of their ADP, average draft position, would translate into you being able to own one of the most potent running back rooms in the league, but at a good price. So when it comes to fantasy, the stack of those two, you never know. You never know. Could turn into something nice. Oh, is there anyone specific I'd like to see the Niners draft in 2021? Oh, man. We're going to the 2021 draft. To be perfectly honest, I really like Chris Olave out of Ohio State. Garrett Wilson as well. Those two wide receivers are going to tear up the NCAA next year. I was really hoping Olave would come out. 2022. You're right. You're saying 2021 as well. Here's my guy. I got a guy for you. I got a guy that I want bad. Bell out of Purdue. So Rondale Moore got a lot of the hype, right? And rightfully so. He's now a division opponent. Rondale Moore is now a Cardinal. They drafted him in the second round. But when I was researching Rondale Moore, this dude would not stop flashing, and that is a wide receiver, David Bell. Played opposite side. And when I watch David Bell play out of Purdue, I look at him and I'm like, you're Terry McLaurin. Like, I was a huge Terry McLaurin guy. Huge. Like, probably one of the only people on the Terry McLaurin hype train pre-draft. I thought he was going to be so dope. No one talked about him. He's a 5th-round draft pick. No one gave him any love. I was big Terry McLaurin guy pre-draft. Well, this is the next Terry McLaurin. David Bell, he seems like the same type of guy. He's not going to really wow you. Like he's not going to be flashy, but he does everything exceptionally well. Just like Terry. Just like Scary Terry. So, David Bell. I would love to have David Bell. But at a certain point, we got to stop drafting receivers because that's it. That's it. Oh, Sourdough Brad out of the booth in 2022. Let's go. We out. It's going back, looking at some of these. I appreciate that, Jason. Jason said, love what you said about Trent, the Silverback Williams. And I hold it down for my offensive linemen. I give them the respect that they deserve. And I get it. Like Trent, I get it. Playing O-line is not flashy, It's not sexy, according to some, but it is such an important position. It is such an important position. Why is Insta and YouTube not synced? Different apps? I have no idea. So yeah, that I think that might be a good opportunity. We're heading up towards an hour. I'm trying to be better about not rambling on for 2 hours on these things. So that's I think what we'll do for at least for right now. For right now, again, if you're just hopping on YouTube, you'll be able to go back and rewatch this. Again, it's top 5 49ers right now. And we just went through the whole list and I explained the list so it makes sense. Red or beer juice you drinking? Yes. The red pickle juice gets your beard redder. No, it doesn't. And it's not pickle juice. But I love drinking out of that cup for some reason. Oh, hey, I'm back. I just kicked myself out of my own live. Oh, sorry. Wrong one. I appreciate you, Russo. I'll definitely check out your channel. I'll be gone for this weekend, so this weekend might not work. But hit me in the DM. We'll figure something out. The laptop cam, I know, dude, it's brutal. AT&T, we had a big rant about this. AT&T, man, we got problems. AT&T, you can never get my stream looking good. So we'll get it better. We're still figuring this out. It's all new to us. So again, but thank you as always, everyone who's tuned in to listen to me ramble about all this good stuff. Again, appreciate. I'm not going to I apologize. I'm not taking any more questions. You guys do this to me every single time. I get ready to get off. You ask me great questions. Save the great questions for next time. Yes, hit that like, please. That does us so. I respect YouTube's algorithm. Before I go on a crazy social media tangent, I respect YouTube's algorithm and I expect how it's triggered by actual engagement. I respect it. So, and it's true. You hit a like, you hit a subscribe, completely changes the way the video moves through the YouTubes. So all that is appreciated. I'll actually be back. I'll be back later tonight. I'm going to do a live with one of my buddies. And what we're going to talk about is the quarterback, more of the draft stuff. Some of you guys might know him, heard of him or heard the name. I'm going to have my guy, Sean Sabian, coming on. Giants fans, that name might ring a bell to you. But we're going to have Sean come on. And of course, Sean's super connected to the Bay Area sports. So he's locked in. He's going to come in, give us great insight. He's a guy who predicted Trey Lance. So excited to have him on. We're going to come back at 5:30. So if you guys want to come watch us talk about the draft, talk about some guys that we're super excited about and some stories, you're going to like this one. Sean Sabian's going to be here. And so we'll talk about all that good stuff. So yeah, be back at 5:30. And again, appreciate everyone hopping on and listening as always. Thank you all. I appreciate you.